Hi, this is John from Azeroth Roundtable, and you're listening to Epic Podcast.
This is the beginning and the end.
You're listening to the Epic Podcast Show with your hosts, Lignar, Walmardian.
He told me to tie her up and do whatever I wanted to her. So I took a stereo.
And Medicakes.
Do you think the expansion will make me fat?
Enough of this palaver. Let's get the show on the road.
French toast! Howdy folks, you're listening to Epic Podcasts, or Podcasts for the Val community. I am Medicakes, who is sounding craptastic, and with me is Lignar and Walmardian.
Hello. Well, started off on a high note.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking of the email exchange that you two had, and then she started off with French toast. I'm like, man, if I'd had the time, I would have made a sound clip and just randomly. I think it's funny how those things kind of stick with people, you know? It's just like it's becoming a thing, and people don't even know what we're talking about. Right. Oh God. I might do that later. Just an odd thing.
Randomly interrupt somebody talking with French toast.
Yeah. Should we maybe give context as to why we're shouting French toast? Oh, we can do that when we actually get to the news item. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, stick around, folks. Now we got a cliffhanger. You have to stay. All right. Cool.
Anyways, let's get into it. Because I'm gonna take some we'll go to bed.
Okay. Well, she's excited to be back after missing a week. She's just like, hi, folks. I'm miserable. Let's get this over with. All right. Welcome to Epic, everyone.
Fuck this show again. All right.
Fuck this shit. Let's go.
Anyways, week and WoW. When I wasn't doped up on NyQuil and DayQuil, I didn't really get online until probably Thursday, Friday. I know. What day is it?
Today's Wednesday, as usual for doing
Wednesday?
a podcast. Yeah.
Really? Okay. Anyways, yeah. So probably not until Thursday or Friday. When I was feeling a little bit better, I dragged some people into Dragon Soul with me. Writing with Oakenhusen style. And on my hunter, which I'm having a blast. I love those guys. Progressing on Garrosh with Vert. He's a mean bastard, by the way. He really is mean. Even on Flex, he's just, God. Been leveling my Crusader in Diablo, wildly, because I love that Crusader. Probably, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to give up my monk. I love my monk.
Did you see the bug with the Crusader?
No.
It's one of the ones with the shield. That it can actually come back and hit you and kill you. Good Lord. Oh. So they're like, hey, if you're playing a hardcore Crusader, don't play this until we get it fixed. Oh my God.
Well.
I don't remember which combination of ability and rune.
Sorry about that.
Anyways,
I just have this vision of Thor throwing his hammer and it come back and. Oh.
Holy crap! Colgar is in the chat room.
Oh, hey, what's up, man? Long time.
Wow, man. Long time. Anyways, Lig, what have you been doing?
Tending to a post-surgery girlfriend for the most part. Not gotten a whole lot of gaming in. Hearthstone here and there. Played a little StarCraft over the weekend. Friday though, while my girlfriend was pretty much doped up on Percocets from surgery, a buddy of ours, a guy I went to high school with, and he's been friends with my girlfriend for actually longer than I've known her. And we've known each other for 16 or 17 or 18 years or something like that. He brought his boy up, and the kids hung out, and he and I sat there and played Diablo Friday night and had a few adult beverages while we were doing that. So that's probably the longest stretch of gaming I've had in the past week and a half. But I did today got into the EverQuest Next beta, and I think I'm going to dig into it a little bit more, but I think I'm going to do a video for the YouTube channel. We need some content out there. I haven't done anything for the channel in a while. But the only thing I can say about it right now is you would think with a game that has the word quest in the title that they would think about maybe giving you one. Just saying.
That's interesting.
From what I saw, it just seems to be, and granted, I was only in for maybe a half hour, 40 minutes, maybe an hour. It seems to be a sandbox to go craft or go gather materials and then craft. You can stake claims for your territory and land and all that kind of stuff, and you can build, and that's all fine. But it didn't seem like much of a fantasy RPG MMO type of game, if that makes sense. It's just my take on it after what little bit I've done with it. I need to play with it some more. There wasn't much of it that just says, this is how you play this game. It's just like, create a character, boom, there you go, you're in. Have fun. And maybe if somebody is an EverQuest veteran, I am not, but maybe if somebody's an EverQuest veteran, they'll feel right at home with it. However, they need to not market the game at EverQuest veterans. They need to market it at gaming audience and maybe MMO veterans, which I feel like I kind of am. Granted, a couple, 3 MMOs and that's it, but I don't know. It just seemed like, I kind of knew what I was doing. I knew how to navigate, I knew how to get around and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't know what the point of the game was. Didn't feel like a game, it felt like a sandbox, if that makes sense. But anyway, like I said, I want to dig into it some more. I'm not discounting the game entirely. It's just my first impression's kind of like, I want to go back. I really dig, like, the way you do mining in that game. I dig it over WoW. I really do. I don't know.
Dig mining?
I don't dig mining. I'm just saying, if you're going to go mining, like, the way they do it is like there's a vein of ore, and you actually dig into the ground, and you keep going until you run out. It's not just a little bump on the ground that you go swing a pick at 4 times and you're done.
Hey, back in my day, we used to have to tap the mine or the vein like 3 times to get every piece of ore out of it. Sorry.
But yeah, and you can dig your whole big hole in the ground, and you might even have to dig your way back out, and it's a little bit more immersive, I guess is a way to say it when it comes to the gathering stuff. Than what is in WoW, than what that kind of thing in WoW is. But other than that, like I said, I didn't even see a quest giver. I didn't see an NPC, period, where I was. So, to me, doesn't seem like my type of game so far, what I've seen out of it, but I'm going to dig into it some more. But other than that's about it for me in gaming in the past week and a half. 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since we've done a show, but how about you, Joe?
Pretty much still leveling in WoW. I've got, my monk is almost 89, and my druid just hit 87, so getting closer. Like I said, 2490s, those 2 will hit soon, and will be 4 away, and I have 2 others that are, at 85 as well, so I'll be at 2890s before you know it, and then I'll just have to keep pushing the others, so... been playing a lot of Hearthstone as well, but that's pretty much. I haven't done a ton of the gaming of late, but yeah, it's all been just the leveling in Hearthstone, really. So paying attention to everything that's been going on this week, which we'll get into here in the news, but yeah, nothing dramatic in game these days. So speaking of the news, why don't we go ahead and jump into this because somebody wants to go sleep.
I'm sorry. What?
Well, we just got to jump on it. Obviously, the big news of the week is that the alpha was announced, and we got all those patch notes. A ton of patch notes. First and foremost, I've got to say, hats off to Regarius and I think it was Celestalon. How do you say that?
I say it's Celestalon.
So that's how I thought it was, but I don't know. Anyway, I think those 2 were the ones, if I remember right, were the ones primarily responsible for the patch notes. So, they were very detailed, very extensive.
And they admittedly left stuff out.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And I'll talk a little bit about some of that stuff here in a bit when we get into this other stuff. But yeah, it was really well done. And, despite people fussing over it, which they seem to want to do.
No, no. People are losing their fucking mind.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I guess I don't want to get too far into this, but I mean the reality is Blizzard doesn't have to disclose the stuff that they disclose, and I'm very thankful that they do, how forthright they are, and try and prepare us as much as possible, and just kind of show us behind the scenes what's coming up. And so I think those patch notes are a perfect example of the extent that they do those sort of things. But again, we talked earlier, when I was talking about this. There's so much stuff in these patch notes and everything, all the information we've gotten. I'll start with Medi. Is there anything that stands out to you when it comes to all this information that we got with the patch notes and stuff? Is there like anything that affects your character, or anything that you looked at that stands out?
I mean, just besides looking at the obvious, my main being the Holy Paladin, just looking at the possible and more probable changes that are going to happen to Holy Paladins and Paladins in general, I'm not too worried. There were some things that I saw that I was just like, oh, they're taking away this. Interesting. But I can't really have an opinion until I get hands-on experience. Mm-hmm. Being in a beta or whatever. I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I know a lot of people are losing their minds about the healer changes. And a lot of people are going to be worried, or are worried, that it's going to be like the beginning of Cataclysm. When they killed Discipline Priest and made me cry. And made me run into the arms of a Holy Paladin. But I'm ready for these changes, especially for the healer changes. They look very interesting. And it's like taking... they're not taking away smart heals, but they're kind of reworking how smart heals will work. And I really do sound like crap, Jesus. I could barely even understand myself. Smart heal. Basically, they're taking away I think they're taking away Holy Light, and basically combining Holy Light and Divine Light. Which, okay, whatever. I hardly use Divine Light, so if Divine Light's going to become like Holy Light, which has been my bread and butter, then whatever. I'm not very concerned about anything that's happening with the healers. We're going to be fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, when it comes right down to what is currently your bread and butter spell, maybe going away, and then the spells are all going to get tweaked enough to where there's going to be something else that's going to be your bread and butter spell. You still have a bread and butter spell. You see what I mean? It's like, I don't understand why everybody was losing their goddamn minds over it.
Yeah, there's been a couple of changes that I'm kind of like, what the hell? Hunters.
Back to mana. No, not really.
Oh God, give us Volley back, Jesus.
No, please no.
I think it
made so much sense.
Give us Volley back. Hunters. I mean, every time that I look at the hunter section, I'm like, been removed. Pets. You don't need pets anymore. I'm like, what? The druid, the symbiosis going, has thrown me for a loop, because that's my rebirth that I get on my Holy Paladin in our raids. It's like they put symbiosis on me, and I get a instant battle res for people. So I don't know.
When did we get symbiosis?
And Miss?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, we haven't had it for long.
Nope.
I'm surprised. Like I said before Miss went into beta, I was like, "There's no way that fucking thing goes live because it's so complicated."
Yep.
And I'm kind of glad they're getting rid of it.
I'm as a druid, in particular, resto druid, I was happy to, because there's really very little that I find handy for me. Yes, if I give it to somebody else, it usually helps them, but for me personally, I never saw any benefit from it. So
right. Well, and I sometimes would get it put on me because that would give me what's the AOE heal? Tranquility.
Wild growth. Oh, tranquility. Oh yeah.
It would give me a trank, and like they'd be like leg trank, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, I mean, it, in your defense, DPS should not have to be worrying about
Yeah.
hitting a
But
trait.
I was the priest, and that gave us an extra trank. So
Still.
just things like that like I'm like, because now I mean, how many raids like I never did. Like I don't know anybody who's done it. Maybe I do, and I just aren't aware. But how many people made raid comp based off of,
Yeah.
off of what they can get out of symbiosis? Not just necessarily what the raid comp would be, but now they've got this extra twist to put up, to come up with their raid comp.
And then you just had to remember, like, okay, if I give this to somebody else, what do I get in return? And there's an add-on that I had to use just to be able to mouse over the class to remember what I would, especially like in LFG, LFR, just to see. Most of the time, frankly, most of the time I always gave it to the priest just so I could get Leap of Faith and annoy people with it. But that'll be the only thing I'll miss, is being a tree and be able to yank people into my loving, thorny arms. Yeah, really, I think the big thing is, and this is kind of where I wanted to go with it eventually, is the fact is we see these things, but we don't have a context. We're taking all this stuff that we're seeing now and applying it to what we know now, and the reality is it's going to be a whole different ball game. Every expansion is different. Somebody said in chat room earlier, people hate change, which just boggles my mind, because then why the hell are you playing an MMO that changes every patch, every hotfix, every expansion?
And the thing is I don't remember who it was that said. I think it was Broomfondle. Maybe it was Spanky. I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, you're right. People hate change, but at the same time, if they don't make changes, then people will bitch that it's old and stale and tired.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like you just have to adjust, and it's just the state of things. And like I always say, if you don't like it, don't give it your money.
Wow. Okay.
What?
Well, I was, making sure about the Paladin, and Divine Light has been renamed Holy Light, and then Holy Light has been removed. So Divine Light is becoming our bread and butter again. Okay. I was just looking at Hymn of Hope for the priest being removed. Inner Focus no longer provides any mana cost reduction. Inner Fire and Inner Will has been removed. Wow.
Yeah, and see, people make a big deal out of that, but then we don't know how else they're tweaking all these spells. Like, okay, so we're not going to get our mana cost reduction. Well, maybe everything just fucking costs less.
Yeah.
We don't know. You see, it's like, and everybody's losing their mind over it. And it's like, I think that the folks who designed this game, it's kind of a complex thing with a lot of moving parts. They're kind of smart.
Yeah, and they know more about what they're dealing with than we are. We're just getting pieces of the puzzle. We're not seeing the big picture. We've just got pieces. The healer thing that is really kind of frustrating me, because overall the main thing I keep seeing on Twitter is, oh my god, we're going back to Kata healing. Don't you think they remember Kata too?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah, I'm sure they heard a little bit about that healing.
Did you not remember my tears, Blizzard?
I think I think the only thing that we can kind of count on is, I mean, there's a few things we can count on, like reforging is gone, right? We can count on that. I think the only thing when it comes to player stats and all that kind of stuff that we can count on is the non-class specific stuff, like how agility no longer provides an increased chance to critically strike, that kind of stuff. They may change how much of an impact, where it says like each point of agility or strength now grants 1 attack power down from 2. They may change that to 1 1/4. We don't know. They can fine tune that, but that type, the fundamentals of those, that's coming. They may tweak it a little bit.
Let's reinforce. This is an alpha. We're not even talking about beta testing or anything else at this point. Things change when they're in the goddamn game live.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean,
they hotfix shit. So
like, the way Shadow Priest, like when I got into the Mists of Pandaria beta, which was actually like the next to last wave of invites, Shadow Priests were fundamentally different. Mind Blast had no cooldown. It consumed shadow orbs, and the strength of it was based on how many shadow orbs you had. And
I remember that.
You used like Mind Spike, I think, to generate shadow orbs. I think. And now, completely backwards. Mind Blast generates shadow orbs, and Devouring Plague consumes them. And that was late in the beta where that change got made. And you're talking a fundamental class change.
Well, look at the changes they made to Resto Druids with the mushrooms and everything else. They made that in 5.4. Live.
Right.
Patch 5.4. Things change. Again, I don't understand. You play an MMO and you're just like, I want everything to be the same. Sorry. Not happening.
Yeah, I can't get over, and part of it is just how starved we are for information.
Yeah.
Right? And this is the opening. This is step one of the floodgates opening. That's what that was. When that came out, was it Thursday or Friday? When this was actually posted, I'd have to scroll up. It was the 3rd. It's a Thursday. Yeah, we kind of got a taste of this yesterday when we get to a later news item, which I'll just wait for. So, I'm sorry. I just realized I was about to like completely derail the show and go completely out of order. So,
well, we're kind of mushing the first two together.
What was that, Medi?
I love that little trail off you did.
Well, then I realized, like, as I was saying that I accidentally closed the fucking show notes too, so I had to go.
That's even better. So now you're lost, but you're not sure exactly how lost.
Fuck, we're none.
Oh no, I got them back open. So
again, no rails to the show, so it's fine. Show notes are essentially a map, so why do we need that either? Fuck it, just throw it out the window.
But you know, there is one thing from the show notes, and it is from the patch notes that is class specific that I am hoping for the most part sticks, and that's the Death Knight, specifically Blood. Like I really liked tanking on my DK. I haven't tanked on him in a while. And they actually say, I think it was in the show notes. She keeps saying show notes. I think they said it in the patch notes where the active mitigation model for tanking, they kind of took it from the DK model. And then since then, the DK hasn't really been touched much.
Right.
And some of the stuff that I'm reading here, I really like if this sticks. And it's a big if, I know. But I really like where, at least I like, this gives you an idea of the direction they want to take a class, right? And I like the direction they're heading with the Blood DK. I really do. It's kind of making me want to find a way to get into a regular raid tanking, but I know I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to, as a DPS with flex technology coming, as a DPS I can be there or I cannot be there. I'm not going to kill the raid, right?
Right, exactly.
As a tank, you kind of still got to be there.
Yeah, true.
You can always take over for Tets or Alacats.
Yeah, but they can be there. I can't. So,
one thing that because stood out for me in terms of DKs is the way they said the army of the dead would only be for blood.
Right.
But I believe that's been already somewhat backed off on I think it was Convert to Ray that Celestalon was on, said that might not be the case either. I'm not sure on that, but somebody told me about that. So again, all that stuff can be completely changed. I'm sure
then they need to make it to where if they're going to take it away, because it is kind of a DPS boost, right?
Right.
For the Frost and Unholy, they need to make it to where they cannot taunt at all.
Yeah,
not glyphed, just can't taunt.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Just because, especially if you're tanking, whether you're a DK tank or not, and somebody pops army, you can't control that mob.
Nope, not at all. Yeah, it's tantamount to 100 pet, but times whatever how many there are,
I think there's 10 of them.
Freaking duration. So yeah, no, that would be nice if they could do something to that effect. So we'll see. Again, alpha notes,
right?
Things will change. So, we kind of squished the first two items together in terms of too early to panic and stuff like that. But right. I wanted to at least bring up the tweet that Ian Hazacostas said. Said, I generally see data mining as a reflection of fan enthusiasm and hunger for new WoW info, but take it for what it is, not gospel, which is something I just want to say for everybody listening. Please don't get so panicky. These things are in flux. This is all fluid right now. Whatever information we get, some of it's not even necessarily intended for us to get, which we'll get in the next bit of news.
Right.
Some of this stuff, again, it's data mined. It's stuff that is getting out one way or another. And, like the Night Elf model, the female model.
Oh, gosh.
people were freaking out about that, and that was data mined, and Chris Robinson had to come out and say that's way early on. That's one we in fact scrapped, and we're starting over. So don't take that for
Which
the
one?
new model. There's
The Night Elf female.
Oh, I didn't see it.
We'll find a copy of that. I wish I would have put that in the show notes. But yeah, there's one out there, and they said they completely started over again because they weren't happy with that. But the problem is perception. People see that and they think automatically that's where they're going with it.
Right.
So,
well, but then again, they might have scrapped it, but it does kind of give you an idea of where they're heading.
Potentially, but from what he was saying was they saw that, didn't like where they were heading with it, and started completely over. So it's actually kind of an example of what they didn't want to do in an ironic kind of way.
Right. Well, there was another tweet that I think it was from Watcher. That basically he was like along the same lines of don't freak out, it's alpha. There are 2 instances, the dungeons not in the alpha right now. He's like, just as an example of how incomplete it's an alpha. Like they're giving us 8 and there's 6 in the alpha, or they're giving us 10 and there's 8 in the alpha. I don't remember.
And it's 8 total, and they're saying 6 now, but there will be 8.
But he was like, just as an example of how incomplete an alpha is. Here you go. So. Well,
somebody else also pointed out though that the official Warlords website actually says 6 dungeons as well. So they need to fix that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe they added 2 at some point and never altered it. I don't know. So
yeah, they might have done something goofy and
I thought that was funny.
They might have had, like in some of their internal testing, realized this is a really long dungeon and split it into 2 or something.
Yeah, could very well be. Who knows? So, but anyway, so let's. I guess we'll go on to the topic that, for me, really stands out. Something that I want to talk about because it's been very interesting the past couple days in particular. All this data mined information. There's a phenomenon out there where people were taking basically a sandbox version of the current state of the alpha and using it to give us information, to show us screenshots. In many cases, there are people streaming all that they had from the sandbox, and wasn't sure how it was going to be dealt with by Blizzard. Actually, it was, to me, it crossed a line because you weren't just using data mining in general. Although I don't know all the ins and outs, the technical sides, and even the whatever, but them basically kind of using a sandbox or a private server or whatever else to be able to get this information seemed a little different to me. So
right, I agree.
when I saw MMO Champion not only posting screenshots of all of this but also streaming, I was a little bit curious.
They were streaming it?
They streamed, yeah. I woke up, it was early in the morning, streamed for like 2 hours of just going around all the zones and showing off different parts of the zones and stuff, and it was very incomplete, which I was surprised by at this point. But there's buildings, but like the insides aren't done and stuff like that. So that kind of stuff made me a little nervous in general, but I'm sure it made Blizzard nervous. So, but there were streams going on all over Twitch. There's still videos up on YouTube, but down the line, Blizzard decided that they weren't going to allow this kind of, at least in this case, version of data mining or giving us information. So they shut down the streams on Twitch first, and eventually had MMO Champion take off all their screenshots. So this brings a weird kind of morality into the data mining thing. And I guess I put in the notes, where's the line? When are we stepping over the line and stepping on Blizzard's toes? I don't know how data mining, like what the stuff that ends up on Wowhead and stuff like that, I don't know how they get that stuff as opposed to this. So
right, and I can't really give an opinion, on or against MMO or on or against Wellhead, but it just seems that Wellhead was doing it with a little bit more class. And I don't know the different methods that people. I don't even know how people data mine.
It's
I don't know.
basically, yeah,
I don't know the technical thing, but it just seems that with the high demand of information, people are foaming at the mouth for information on Warlords, and it's. I mean, I know the people were curious with Mist, but it doesn't seem to be as ravenous. I like that word. As it
Savage.
is now with
Savage. They're savagely ravenous.
ugh, but it just seems that people are willing to do anything and even cross the moral and ethical lines, when it comes to getting the data and getting the views and getting the people, which I think kind of MMO Champion was doing, because they're competitors when it comes to
kinda.
They are. I mean, it's two different places that want the views.
Right.
And I don't know. It's just a race to get the best information and get new information. And
Yeah, but that you're not addressing like where the quote unquote line is, though. I personally,
if it's going against the Blizzard terms of service, and you're crossing the fucking line.
well, yeah, that's true. I totally agree with that. As far as how they data mine, like I couldn't get too much detail, but basically you take the big chunk of code that sits on your hard drive and you go through it bit by bit and looking for models and images, and it's all stored in there in some way, and you have to figure out what data structure they used in their programming to get all that stuff out, and then you extract it and you have your image. It takes a smart person from what I've heard on the file structure that they're using for Warlords and the same one they're using for Heroes. It takes pretty smart people who know a lot about data structures to do that. The MPQ that they had before, anybody could go through that. You could download an MPQ extractor. That's how do you think we got half the sound effects we got in our intro? Actually, all of the sound effects we got in our intro. So you could data mine if you could get your hands on the client, which isn't too difficult really. Then you could data mine it with that MPQ extractor. This new file format, MMO Champion and Wowhead, as far as I know, both had to write their own. And the sandbox environment.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What's going on with people being able to pre-download the alpha as a beta?
You can just trick if you look hard enough. I haven't really looked, but I know if you looked hard enough, you'll find instructions out there about how to trick the desktop launcher to go ahead and download the client. You can trick it to download Heroes of the Storm. You won't be able to play because it's not enabled on your account, but you can download it and have it eating up your hard drive space if you really wanted to.
Well, actually, the client's right on Battle.net. It's not tricking it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you just go to games and downloads or whatever else, the beta client's there. You can just download it straight from the actual site. So
Not on my account.
Well,
and sorry for the sirens if you guys hear it. Apparently there's a fire nearby.
I bet it is there for you on your account. It doesn't show like in your games list thing or whatever else. It's kind of like in a little drop down, because everybody that I know has found it. So, yeah, it's just the client. There's nothing unless your account gets flagged. You can't log in or anything like that. You'll see a server list, but that's it. But yeah, what other people have done with it in terms of tricking it out to do the private server or sandbox or whatever, that's the thing. That's where I have a problem with what was going on, because you're taking something and altering it. You're not just taking what's there and then extracting data. You're taking what's there, altering it for your benefit. And like Medi had a nail on the head in terms of competition. I mean, you're talking these websites, they're basically newspapers, and one needs the big headline, and they went and did something a little bit shady, in my opinion, to go and get the big scoop. And I think that kind of sucks, because, they did that to get ahead, whereas people that are doing things the way they should have to sit back and not benefit at all. So I don't know. I'm just glad it's all squared away. I was glad Blizzard stepped up and did something about it, because they could have easily just like, okay, well, whatever. But no, they hit the hammer on them. So
Well, and I guess for me, it depends on how they did the sandbox. Like, if it's something that if they developed the code to just let them show it like a WoW model viewer type of thing, I don't know what. See, it's like, I guess for me, it depends on how they did it.
right, yeah.
But when it comes right down to it, it's Blizzard's property, and like, okay, Joe, you do YouTube videos. At any time, Blizzard could just decide you're not allowed to do that anymore.
Yep.
So I guess that's really where the line is wherever Blizzard decides it is. Now, they've been pretty gracious and generous in the past. Yeah. So, to have the blanket takedown of all that stuff, that wasn't a request. If it's getting taken off of Twitch and MMO Champions removed it and and YouTube is removing it, that's not a request. That's got cease and desist written all over it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm sorry, that's
not. That's putting it mildly.
That's kind of like saying if you go to a football game and they're like, if you are a spectator and you enter the playing area, you will be escorted off the field.
Yeah.
No. Escorted means the guy's going to come and go, shall we?
Yes. Yes, this is not a request.
Right. So yeah, I think, but I think it just shows kind of the hunger that the fans have, and these sites are just. I can't blame the sites; they're doing their job.
And what Ro had said, MMO Champion did what they did because Wildhead was doing the info breakdown better.
Maybe, I don't know. I personally, when it comes to stuff like that where you're kind of like drinking from a fire hose, I kind of like MMO Champions better because it's just that's the way my brain works. If it's something that I want to go look up after the fact, I like Wowheads better because they've got like a database that's there. But when it's this giant dump of news, like when the Heroes Alpha client came out, when it got data mined, I wanted it on MMO Champion. I wanted their format because it was just a dump of information, and that's how I consume that. That's the way my brain works.
Right.
So, but to kind of maybe reverse the next two items that are very closely related to kind of highlight how hungry people are about WoW news is, was it yesterday we got the Monday we got no, it was yesterday, Tuesday, right?
Tuesday we got the Drain Knife.
Yeah,
that's where you're going.
Yeah, and Nathera put on Twitter, like, keep an eye on the site, 10 a.m. Pacific, and Twitter fucking exploded with what it was going to be.
Oh, that was Monday for the running of the Bulls.
Yeah, maybe that's
the Tauren. Right. Yeah, that's right. I remember oh my god, your tweets were just, oh my god.
Well,
dripping with sarcasm.
Well, in my defense, like, I didn't mean to be as much of an asshole as I was. I was starting to get sick.
It was 3 tweets, Leg.
I was starting to get sick, man. Well, ha 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 ha. I meant that.
Yeah, it was ha ha ha, and then a whole tweet that was just like breeze in, and then another whole. I was like, oh my god.
I had to change that second one.
Did you?
Because I just copy and pasted, I had 140 characters of ha ha ha, and it wouldn't let me do it again because it said you already tweeted this.
Oh, right. Oh my god.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, and the thing that really killed me about it is they're like, well, Blizzard's really hyping us. I'm like, no, they're not. They just said, look at the site.
Mm-hmm.
The community took it and ran with it, and I know it sounded like I was being maybe mean to those people who were running with it, and I really didn't mean to be. It's just a highlight of how hungry people who run blogs or podcasts or whatever, how hungry we have been for information. So we have something to fucking talk about when we do.
Absolutely. Well, just in general, as a player base, we're just like anytime.
Right.
So.
But I mean, to get two ArtCrafts, like, okay, we had the running of the bulls, and we got the female Draenei, Space Goat.
Draenor.
So we got two ArtCrafts this week. So we got alpha patch notes last week, two ArtCrafts this week. I saw a tweet earlier today that had the thing, the marquee out in front, the light board out in front of the Anaheim Convention Center saying November 8th and 9th, 2014, BlizzCon. I think it's fake. I'm pretty sure it's fake. But anyway, it's like,
yeah,
I would laugh if that wasn't a fake, but.
Well, did you see Perculia's tweet later on? Apparently somebody took the the image and repurposed it, like you're saying, made an additional fake that showed that BlizzCon was December 24th and 25th. and it looks just like it should too. So just to drive the point home, yeah, you could really fake that stuff easily.
Right, and I didn't look. Somebody said they put 2014 last year, like when we were at BlizzCon in the days leading up to BlizzCon, that the year was wrong just by accident. Mm-hmm. And it's a photo from that, because I don't even know what the 8th and 9th of November are this year.
I don't either off the top of my head. So.
But anyway, I just think the floodgates have opened, kind of like what I was saying when we were talking about the 8th and 9th. I just brought it up is Saturday and Sunday. So,
because they always have BlizzCon on Sundays.
Right? Yeah.
Totally not happening. It's not happening because I can't afford it.
Well, at this rate, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to either. So,
shoot. Well, that's the thing. I mean, we're near mid-April at this point. I don't know. I mean, I think we discussed this at some length at some point. I can't remember when or where, but it's getting dangerously close to whether we're going to have one or not, in my opinion. And with everything going on, who knows? I
agree, because I mean, they typically give us a good 8 months, and they're 7 anyway, and they're pushing that they're pushing it with people wanting to plan their vacation and travel, and because let's face it, going to BlizzCon's not cheap. People need to plan that shit.
Absolutely, we got people come from other countries and stuff too. So yeah. So anyway,
let's actually.
No. I vote for that, Mazzy. East Coast BlizzCon at Medi's. Yeah. No, not in this apartment.
Yeah, we'd have maybe 6 people at your place, and we'd be over. The fire marshal would show up and tell us we need to kick 2 out. But anyway, so let's talk about the ArtCrafts, I guess, a little bit. French toast, for starters.
French toast.
For those of you who don't know what that is the animation for the Tauren. Was it Bashiok that tweeted it? Yeah. Bashiok tweeted it in the animation where he's doing some of the emotes. That he is mouthing the words French toast, or it looks like he is. So Joe made a little machinima with a Haywood Banks song from the Bob and Tom show. It was actually quite funny. I'm pretty impressed with the animation. It's kind of, I guess I'm not impressed with the actual animation because it's kind of what we would have expected from the Pandaren. I'm impressed that it really, like, when you see the two of them next to each other, you're like, Jesus, that dead thing is what we're playing now? You know what I mean? It's like they look so much more alive.
Yeah.
It's so much more realistic and lively. I wasn't impressed so much with the, oh my god, that animation is amazing, because like I said, it's what we get in the Pandaren, but to see the difference in what we have right now is like, I really I don't want to really play a Tauren now, but I kind of do.
You thought about it. Well, that's what I like about it. And you see that the fact that I could take that little bit that we got. I mean, face it, we don't have the full set of emotes or whatever else. We just got those few videos, and I was able to take that and make something, which I still, I'm going to throw it out there. I think that's the first new Tauren model machinima ever. Woohoo! Go me.
Hey, that might be.
It may be. But yeah, I was able to take just that little bit and be able to make something out of it because of how detailed those animations are. I'm really looking forward to seeing what else the machinima. The machinima is just going to go nuts with this. So I can't wait to see all of this and what people do with it. So yeah, and speaking of not animated or animated, and we're going to not animated, the whole Chernai female, I think a lot of people, and I know I wanted to stress that they do say multiple times in the article that it's not done yet. This is an early version, and let's face it, there's an early version because people were ticked off because of April Fool's.
Right.
They wanted something out, so it's not. They couldn't even pose this thing because they didn't have animation. I mean, it's not even that it's not animated. They couldn't even pose the pictures. So yeah, it's just, don't freak out too much. It does look a polished version. It doesn't look spectacular yet, but that's what they have right now. So that's another thing people are kind of panicking about right now, which, again, we've talked a little bit how people are panicking. Did I lose people?
I don't know. You didn't lose me.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, they even talked about how like that she doesn't look right. Like and I don't get this. I'm not a 3D animator, but they said her head is not shaped properly in these because she hasn't been animated yet.
Yeah.
And what I understand about animation of models is like her head shouldn't be changing shape. But I don't know. Maybe it will. I don't know. But they also talked about how the curvature of the back is not right because it's not animated, and like that I get. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the models. Honestly, though, I am less interested in the models, and I want to see more. Like they did say, the next one is going to be the last paragraph, the next to last. I look at the creation of the Spires of Iraq. I can't wait to see that. Like right. I kind of want to see the ArtCraft about the environment more than I do the models, because frankly, while the player models make the game look a little bit more lively, like I played the new dwarf at BlizzCon when I was playing around with the demo, it does make the game seem a little bit more lively, but I spend a lot more time looking at the environment of the game than I do my character. And that's why the ArtCrafts for the environment and the garrison that they did, it's like I really dug those. And the models, I'm like, okay, this is cool, but I'm really looking forward to the environmental stuff.
Yeah, well, seeing Draenor, everything that we've known about it from Outlands and everything else, and seeing, this new, or actually technically old version, that is what interests me. Will I be able to recognize locations?
And maybe that's part of why I'm interested in it too, is because like, how does this look different from what I'm used to? It's like.
Yep, I think it'll be very, very interesting in time, but we shall see. So, but again, there's another. The ArtCrafts were another place where people were. I think at least these ArtCrafts were a little better taken, I think, than even any of the other ones prior to. I mean, yes, of course, we had the April Fools, but even besides that, so.
Yeah, and that conversation finally died, and I don't want to resurrect it. So
no, exactly.
But yeah, I guess the next thing we wanted to talk about is Blizzard's going to be at PAX East. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the information coming out of there. I'm going to be watching a stream on Friday. They're doing their presentation at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, titled "Heroes of the Storm: The Ultimate Blizzard Mashup." So they're going to be talking a lot of Heroes of the Storm stuff. I wouldn't expect a big reveal. Like, we got Hearthstone at PAX East last year. I wouldn't expect them to reveal something, especially since they've told us what their big presentation's titled. They may announce something about we're going beta, taking it out of technical alpha and going beta. They may do something like that. But I wouldn't expect a new title. Despite the fact that, Joe, I don't know if you saw this, but I linked it to you in Skype before I called you and we did the pre-show.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Blizzard has, yes, I know, Ro, that's what I'm going to.
I was going to say, I actually added that as the last.
Oh, okay. Well, the reason I wanted to talk about it now is because, Blizzard has started this track record of a few days or a week ahead of their announcement, doing a trademark. They did it with Reaper of Souls. They did it with Warlords of Draenor. I think Warlords of Draenor is like 10 days before BlizzCon, maybe a week. I don't remember Hearthstone. I don't remember when that trademark actually happened, which I think they kind of already had Hearthstone trademarked because of its part of Warcraft. So they did just trademark this, so we might hear something about that. There's rumor that Rob Pardo, was it Rob Pardo? Yeah, who left Diablo, but he's still at Blizzard. He left the Diablo team. There's rumor that he went there. His background is in strategy games. Overwatch is a military term about, a small military force. So it's possible. I'm not putting anything into it, really. But I'm not going to be floored by it, I guess. Like, I was floored by Hearthstone, even though we kind of should have, in hindsight, we should have seen it coming with all the hints that we got. And I know people say that, oh, we totally saw it coming. No, that's like saying you figured out the Sixth Sense before you watched it. You didn't. you lying sack of shit. You didn't.
I I'm a hipster.
I'm sorry, but you guys saw the same hints. I know both of you saw the same hints that I saw. They even sent us emails. Those of us who are podcasters and whatnot. I don't know if you got that email or not, Joe. That was before. That was before on the show. They sent us an email.
To be fair, I'm stupid. I don't ever catch anything. So.
Because I remember they sent an email to the show, and it was basically it had the Hearthstone logo, and that was the, they're like, keep an eye on whatever. It's coming new from Blizzard, and I'm like. We all just thought it was Blizzard All-Stars because that's what it was called at the time.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And and then we look back on it. It's like, oh, it's Hearthstone. There's the Hearthstone logo, and okay, but no, Hearthstone is not in beta. Hearthstone is live. It was the quietest launch ever because it went open beta, and then all of a sudden it wasn't in beta.
Well, that's because everybody was back in beta.
Right. Well, they didn't. Well, that's the thing with Hearthstone. They never actually said. Like, the official headline was not, we're live. The official headline was, we're no longer in beta. So I think a lot of people didn't catch that it's actually live. But yeah, so the Overwatch thing, here's a link to an article about it. If I can figure out how to Control-C here, I'll put it in the chat room. There's a link to it, and actually the USPTO record is there. That's the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Yeah, I mean, Blizzard registered this, and with their track record lately, it's possible they're going to say something about it this weekend. We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. I don't know.
I personally, I don't know. I personally think there was a tweet about that you linked in the show notes, Joe, that. About Hearthstone, like a Hearthstone review about PAX East.
Well, potentially. I don't know. I mean, it does have the tweet about showing a new card, which shows two swords and saying that they sprung to life, began cutting up everything, and even the card text. What are they hiding? And they haven't said anything since then. That was, when was that? It was yesterday? Yes, yesterday. So I'm assuming, obviously, that's got to be a PAX East announcement.
So it's going to be Death Knight.
Could be this
dancing rune weapon, or so many speculations going on with it.
Looking forward to finding out. So that'll be at least something in terms of Hearthstone. There's not going to be anything new really for Warlords, obviously, because we've got all this information. They might expound on things, but they're not going to really reveal anything new.
Well, I mean, they're hands-on demo with it, and
with the iPad,
exactly.
Yeah.
And there'll be interviews where people can, again, get into the details about some of the specifics. But
I really like. I'm gonna be kind of upset if they do announce like a new card set or whatever for Hearthstone before we get. Because in my opinion, okay, the game is live, right? But I don't think the game is done. Like the initial version of the game, I don't think it's done until they deliver it on all the platforms they said they would. Like I think the iOS, not just the iPad, the iOS, iPad, iPhone, and the Android version, I think they need to be out before they start putting expansions in.
Right.
That's my take, but that's going to be, they really can't. With a free-to-play game where you're buying cards, they really can't do that, or the game loses money.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be surprised if they announce a new hero, but I don't know what else that could be. I mean, if it's just a new card, they're not going to make that big of a stink of it. And we talk about kind of stirring up excitement. That's more of stirring up excitement than just, hey, look at the site.
Right.
So that tells me it's probably going to be a DK hero or something. That would be it. Does seem really early for something like that, but I'm going to take it. I love Hearthstone, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take it, but I'm just going to be like,
Well, you're kind of that way about Hearthstone anyway. To be fair.
No. I play the game. I like the game, but I think
he has a coffee mug.
I got a Hearthstone coffee mug thanks to Medi. But I'm like, I would rather them quote unquote finish the game, and I know it's finished, right? But I would rather them deploy it fully before they start expanding it. And I just know they can't from a business perspective. I know it just can't happen that way.
Right.
Well, although I'm sure that they're making enough money that it can, but the stockholders wouldn't appreciate it. But.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but I expect that stuff to happen. You know, platforms and all that stuff kind of goes along, like Diablo going to the other platforms later and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm a PC gamer and it's done for me, so I'm fine. That's all I can say.
No, that's fine. I'm really wanting. I'm really kind of upset that we haven't gotten the iOS, the iPad version yet here in North America, and I'm kind of betting it has something to do with the way some kind of law and the way Apple has control over the iTunes Store, and probably the laws in the countries where they do have it are different.
Could be.
So.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that hasn't happened yet either, because has it been a full week yet? It's close.
They had
like Thursday last week.
They had the North America press event on the 3rd. So
Okay.
it was last Thursday.
Okay, so yeah. Yep, so I was a little surprised. I figured that would roll out like Monday or something.
I don't expect it to be out because they made a point to say that they would have demo versions of it at PAX East, so it's not going to be publicly available until after.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
at this point,
if they're making a point to say, oh, we're going to have the iOS version at PAX East, well,
yeah.
If it was in the iTunes Store, then everybody would be like, I got it in my hand. What the fuck? I don't care. So.
Yeah, I think you're right though. Something's holding it up. So don't know what it would be, but Heroes of the Storm is the big reveal, unless Overwatch somehow steals some thunder, and actually is talked about. But yeah, all that Heroes of the Storm stuff, new heroes and everything else. So.
But they even put a link to it on you put in the show notes. There's a link. There's a mention of it on the actual Heroes of the Storm website saying we're going to be talking about Heroes of the Storm at PAX East.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I so want to go to. Like if I didn't have this whole unemployment thing, I would so be in Boston this weekend.
I know you would be.
Yeah, because I love Boston. I would have gone Monday and just hung out in Boston and then went to PAX East, or maybe going to PAX East and then hung out the rest of the week or something. But
all right.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're going to be doing something primarily. Well, I know for a fact one of the heroes. CM said something about, I spent the last few days playing all the heroes, and I'm looking forward to doing some shoutcasting of heroes. So they're going to be doing some shoutcasting.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably going to be some kind of a tournament or something,
right.
Show matches again. But
yeah. They said there was going to be something that I think they were going to even put on Twitch. I can't remember. I have to look it up. But yeah, there's no doubt. This is their big push to get this out there a little bit more. I mean, let's face it. This is their League of Legends killer, or at least attempt at, and they want to get it out there. So that's where their focus is this weekend. So works for me. So I would be it would surprise me if Overwatch is announced, but I would kind of like to know what we're looking at.
Yeah,
so, I mean, talking about an FPS just boggles my mind. I can't even fathom Blizzard making an FPS. So, we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the flex mode part, I guess, if we're done with the news.
Yay, flex
at this point, because it is 10 o'clock.
Yep.
I don't know where we're at on this, so I wasn't sure if this was still applicable, if we were moving on to the next part, but I think we're still just doing the rest of this week on this, right?
Yeah, we'll move on to the next. What is the next part?
I think it's what do we have left? Race is next.
We're doing race now.
Yeah, we're doing
or
race
not,
now.
Sorry, it's a gender then.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, we'll do this one, and then we'll do gender, and then we'll figure out how to pick a winner for naming it, which I'm scared of.
So far, trolls are in the lead.
Trolls be in the lead.
Yay!
So,
I can deal with that.
want to dictate what race Joe's boost to level 90 should be? Is Horde Hunter.
And I guess I'm looking at the second and third place right now. They're tied. So what would happen if we have a tie? How are we gonna? We might have to come up with a tiebreaker. I flip a coin or.
Well, oh yeah, no, it's still tied.
Right, second and third's tied. I'm perfectly fine with number 1 or number 2, whichever one wins.
Right.
Those are two races that I actually like seeing as hunters. So, I'm surprised the bottom one is that far down.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Me too.
He should be a Tauren, and then we can name him French Toast.
Don't try and influence the vote.
But yeah, next week we'll come up with the gender, male,
For
female.
Katie.
So we'll leave this up until the 16th, I guess, and then we'll start a new one. So yeah, let's keep that one. Let me get. Did we get the link in? Yeah, okay, link's in the show notes. All right, or in the chat room rather. So I guess that's it. Now I guess it's time to talk about, since we kind of already talked about it a little bit with naming Trolls new tune. Wow, Joe's new tune. Well, I didn't give anything away there, did I? On May 17th is when we will name Joe's Boosted 90. Rules, of course, can't violate terms of service, all that fun stuff. But the reason it's May 17th is because we are going to do our second annual Child's Play Marathon. We're going to start at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and we're going to go for 24 hours. We'll probably take like a 10-minute break every 2 hours or so just to keep from getting blood clots in our legs and get some hydration and go to the bathroom, that kind of stuff. We did it last year. That's the way we did it last year, and it seemed to work out pretty well.
I don't know, my foot was swollen.
Well, yeah, but that's because you're short and you can't reach the ground when you're standing on it. Sorry, I had to say that.
Wow.
Anyway, last year we had a goal of $1,000, and through your guys' generosity, we beat that. I was worried that we were even going to meet it, and we beat it. And that kind of got us excited for this year, and we're going to push for $2,500 this year. We have plenty of things in the works. We got some special folks who are hopefully going to make the trip and are all going to be here hanging out at my place and maybe annoying the shit out of my neighbors because I live in an apartment, not a house now. But that's okay. They annoy the shit out of me, so payback's your bitch.
Except for Medi.
Except Medi's not going to be here,
Medi
unfortunately.
will be.
She'll be here virtually.
Yeah, I was like, I'm definitely going to be staying up all night long and annoying Chris.
Yeah, so we'll have to figure all that out, how we're going to get Medi in here. The last time we tried to do Skype with video, it crashed horribly, like the whole
that's because
machine.
we're trying to do video with like 20 people.
Yeah, so we might have to do a little bit of testing of that and see how we can make that work. But we have a few things that Joe had a really, really fun idea for something that I don't want to talk too much about because we need to iron out the details on how to do that. Joe, maybe tomorrow you and I can talk about that if you're free, because I have some ideas on how to make that fun. We got some giveaways. We're going to name the winner of the contest to name Joe's Boosted Tune, or Hunter, I guess we could say. All kinds of stuff. Some StarCraft arcade games with and against guys. You guys are going to be there, watching the stream. Probably do some LFR. Probably not going to do some LFR runs. I'm sorry. I'm just not happening. Do some transmog runs, achievement runs, play some Diablo. We're just going to do whatever we can do for 24 hours. We've got probably going to do some Hearthstone stuff. I'm going to try to reach out to somebody on the raid team who is pretty well known in the Hearthstone community, see if he can give us an idea or maybe come join us for an hour or so. But that's basically it. Keep an eye on the Twitter feed and on the podcast website for details as we get them. I did get an email from the Child's Play folks today. I need to get with you, Medi, tomorrow. So it actually went to the show, so you can read it.
Oh.
So. But anyway, I guess that's it about the marathon. Again, May 17th, 11 a.m., going for 24 hours. We probably won't have bad music to play after Machinimas. I might just want to reuse those same Machinimas.
Okay.
Because
Can we do
I don't think we have time.
new ones? Do some French toast.
Yes, you could definitely use that.
French toast! Okay.
So
I could work on something.
We just need to come up with ideas if we wanted to do new ones. Anyway, I guess that's it about the marathon. Yes, it starts at 11 a.m. Saturday and goes to 11 a.m. Sunday. Yes, Ro.
Isn't Rose supposed to be there too? Everyone's doing it except for me.
Yeah, Ro is planning on, well, as far as I know, Ro is planning on coming down. Joe's planning on coming down. Zia may or may not be coming down. I haven't heard from her in a while. She's like, I'm totally there, and then that was like a month ago. So,
I'm totally there, but maybe not.
okay. We'll have to figure all the details of that out. Just shoot me an email or text message or hit me up on Skype or something, Ro, and let me know if I need to come fetch you and all that kind of stuff. So, anyway, let's go ahead and close this show up and call it a night and let Medi take her NyQuil.
That's right. I am not doing Katie this week. Katie has been
you know what?
to the ground.
May not take NyQuil, and I may just stay up and level my Crusader and fall asleep.
Just don't throw your shield and kill yourself.
Right?
Let's be careful of that. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, as far as the show, ladies and gentlemen, in lieu of a funny voice, I did do Barney Fife on The Sundering the other day. People were saying I should do that.
I have not had a chance to listen to it yet, and I can't wait. Because I know Seraph said you had some shit to answer for.
I don't understand what he's talking about.
I don't either, and like I haven't had a chance between being.
I don't
sick
have
and...
5 seconds on that show to talk because he's fucking talking about bacon the whole time. How am I supposed to? How am I supposed to ever say anything? Fucking bacon news segment. Anyway, this is my shot. This is my chance to get him, so I'm gonna take it. Anyway. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher, ladies and gentlemen. Leave a review or a thumbs up. If you're listening via download, join our live chat, as these lovely people have done, at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesdays at epicpodcast.com/live. Epic Podcast is a proud member of Catalyst Gaming Media. Be sure to check out other podcasts, YouTubers, bloggers, webcomics, and more at catalystgamingmedia.com. Also, be sure to check out the forums on that Catalyst site and participate in the growing community there. If you want to get more information on the podcast, go to the website at epicpodcast.com. You can email the show at epicpodcast@gmail.com. Go to the YouTube channel where Lig does a lot of stuff. Generally on Thursdays, you do a little kind of a bonus segment, I guess you could put it. And definitely check that stuff out, his shoutcasting and everything else. He's doing really good work there. That's at youtube.com/theepicpodcast. My YouTube channel at youtube.com/wowmardian. You can see all my funky stuff there. Not a whole lot going on these days except for Onward, just because we're kind of dead in terms of the content. But I'll be doing more, especially if I knock on fake wood in front of me and get into the early testing and stuff like that. On the Twitters, of course, you can find us at epic_podcast. Lignar is at Lignar. I'm at Wildmardian. And Medi, of course, is at Medicakes. So definitely drop us a line, check us out, follow us, all that fun stuff. We are chatty for the most part. Lig can be snarky. If you go back in his timeline and see his giant laughter at other people's expense, you'll understand what I mean. So,
and John said that somebody broke me.
What?
John from Azeroth Roundtable, like he replied to the first one. He's like, somebody broke a leg.
Something like that. I was surprised. I was like, you should have seen. I probably literally had my hand over my mouth, just going, "Oh my god." Oh, that was funny. Anyway, so there's that, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the show, and we need to tuck Medi into bed. So.
I'm not going to bed. I'm going to stay up all night playing the Crusader.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. I am going to try and figure out what the hell they were talking about in this email.
What the hell they were talking about, what?
In
the shield thing.
No, the Child's Play email.
Oh!
Yeah, wait, after we finish the show, I'll tell you what they really mean. So, okay. Anyway, guys, that's it for this week. So until next time, have fun a while, y'all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.